I'm Allen Henderson, a broker at Henderson Real Estate. Welcome to the Ahwatukee History Project. In today's episode, Marty interviews a renowned landscape architect, A. Wayne Smith. Mr. Smith designed the master plan for the original Ahwatukee Retirement Community, Mountain Park Ranch, the Foothills, and Club West. Mr. Smith went on to do the master plan for Ocotillo and Chandler, McCormick Ranch in Scottsdale, and many other prestige communities throughout the Southwest. In this episode, A. Wayne Smith discusses his mantra, listen to the land. He discusses his philosophy, he discusses his wonderful clients, and he gives a special thanks to Marty Gibson.
Wayne, as you took these unpainted canvases, particularly the original Ahwatukee, over 2,000 acres of just raw desert, what was your guiding philosophy? What motivated you? What really spurred you on to put your stamp on the land?
Well, the easiest thing, and I mentioned, when you get a large parcel of land, you need to understand more about that land than anything else, any other person. And that goes back to what we called a constraint study. What are the constraints on that land, whether, was it a junkyard? Was it a beautiful forest? Take all the natural assets and put them on paper. And maybe if you do a series of overlays of the topography, the drainage, the access to utilities, you put all of these on the paper, and it's funny. The process tells you what it wants to be, and you just have to be a good listener. And the land will tell you, you don't want to put a golf course, or you don't want to put a housing development right in the middle of a wash. It tells you if you listen, but if you ignore it, you're going to design in problems for forever. But by listening to the constraints, it'll tell you. And that's what the fun part of it was. Let these high points come up and play down the bad points or work them into, again, I think we spoke just briefly about the Indian Bend Wash was a terrible thing for many, many, many years until several people realized, wait a minute, that's a natural resource. That's an asset. And now how it is paid off many, many fold. There's housing developments, there's golf courses, there's parks, all of these things, they're not liabilities, they're assets. And I think was what we learned, I think, is to take these funny little hills down there at Mountain Park Ranch and turn them into an asset to the point where you can't duplicate them. You can't build them again, but you could sure tear them down, but trying to preserve the beauty that's there. And I think that's one of the things that made our job fun, because I think as part of our training was to work with nature as much as possible. And it's when you start ignoring it is when you get into trouble. And I think that's, I guess maybe we have been very fortunate that, you talk about Ocotillo, all of that treated effluent, you think, boy, that's a liability. No, you work it into the point that people are paying premiums to live on this treated effluent, but it's not a liability. So those are the fun parts that made our job.
You were a good listener.
We tried to be, and even maybe in life in general. Right now, if you listen, and good things will continue to unfold for you.
Right. Now, the constraint studies, one of your constraints as the planner would be working with different clients who have different ideas, who maybe aren't Some are more sensitive than others to the way the land is talking, and they're not maybe listening. High points and low points in terms of your experience with working with different clients, in terms of the ease that you were able to do what you envisioned to be a very good project versus some constraints that really kind of crimped your style?
Wow. Well, I think you just have to mainly work with the personalities of the who you're working for. You have to remember, you're leaving it for somebody else to take over.
Right.
And you want to leave it in such a way that it's an asset to people who are going to occupy and work through the process.
Right.
And it's once you've done the plan and we're out of the picture, we're nobody anymore. and I think that's some of the, you might call them not the hurtful things, but the things that were intentionally ignored, that could have been better, that weren't. But I can say I don't think we had too many of those.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. Again, it goes back to having wonderful clients. I think good people attract good clients. It's part of the benefits of it all, I guess.
Right. Any closing perspective, Wayne? We've talked about a lot, covered a lot of ground, figuratively speaking. Mm-hmm. Any closing thought?
Well, I think I mentioned briefly, you're putting us all together in the two books. It's just, to me, was very meaningful because, I think of it when I drive up the streets or down. I get lost in my own developments. Things change so drastically from the drafting table or the computer to on the ground. But no, it's just wonderful that somebody would take the time and the energy and the honesty to put together what you've done. And they're beautiful statements that would be meaningful to all of us for a long, long time. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. As I said, couldn't have done it without you. I think you have the introduction to my next book already there.